Oh boy, the MCU is at it again. She-Hulk just ended, and oh boy, it's really dropped to a new low for Marvel, and I think some people saw this coming. Some people were blind to it, and others saw the truth that this is not gonna be good. I will preface this by saying I didn't watch the full episodes of She-Hulk because I was going to, but then I saw people reviewing it, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. Like, I'm not gonna do it. So I didn't. So I can't review the episode by episode per se of what happened, but I've watched all the reviews and heard everything that the writers and the people in the show are saying, and and what's happening in the show, and it's really just crazy. And in an MCU that was already dying, with what's going on in the recent last couple years, is dead now if it wasn't already. Like She-Hulk, I think might have killed it. Um, Basically, the purpose of this show, at least in the eyes of the people creating it, was to own the fans, essentially. That was the purpose of the show, from everything that I can tell. There was to, take it to the fans and the trolls of the show. The horrible people who, spend all of their time and money buying the comic books and watching all their movies and making them successful in the first place. Those people, you know. So they've made a whole show dedicated to saying how horrible the fans are. And that really went over well, as you can tell. She-Hulk probably being one of the worst rated MCU things ever, and probably in a lot of people's minds could be the worst thing that the MCU's ever pumped out. Which is really kind of sad because She-Hulk is a good character and she's had good comic book runs. So there's definitely not like it's the character's fault. Like they can make a good She-Hulk show, just like they can make a good character show for any of these other people. But they choose not to. And the crazy part is that they think that they're like I said, they're owning the fans who, criticize what they're doing in the MCU. But really, all they're doing is proving us right by making this kind of garbage. Because when you look at it, if all they're doing is showing what we're complaining about, is that they're destroying characters, they're not following the comments, and they're just making overall not good television or movies. So to combat that, they make a really poor, crappy show that complains about fans and puts subtle references to their detractors in throughout the entire series, and just gets kind of ridiculous, especially considering that last episode. So these people are morons. I mean, let's be honest. The people writing this, you really, I don't know, I don't know what to say about them. They're just not. It's not good. They obviously, the people who actually know how to write things don't want to touch this because they know they're not going to have any control. And at the same time, it's like that the MCU's losing control too, so it's kind of weird in that sense because Kevin Feige obviously is got stretched too thin, and he's also gone nuts apparently too. So not that he was going to save it anyway. And then they got these crazy writers who don't know what they're doing writing these shows. Like the She-Hulk writer Jessica Gao is like, I don't know what she's just talking about. They want to make a show about just the mundane parts of superhero life and all this stuff, and then trying to write this fourth wall comedy, which I don't particularly have a problem with them doing fourth wall stuff. I know some people don't like that, but I think if it's done right, it could be fine. But they didn't really do it right from everything that I saw in the She-Hulk show, and the comedy that I saw, nothing landed. It was all pretty cringe, and this is just sad and pitiful at this point. Looking at it, they kind of also degraded and destroyed more characters. Not only did they degrade She-Hulk, because they don't think they really got the essence of She-Hulk. And it's like, for most of the show, from what I could tell, she really hated being She-Hulk. When, in fact, in the comics, she loves being She-Hulk. That's like her thing. Like, she's like a different person. She's like more outgoing and, just a different person, but she enjoys that. Like, that's part of her thing, and she enjoys being She-Hulk. It's really a contrast to the Incredible Hulk, where he's like tortured by being the Hulk, where she enjoys it and embraces it. They didn't catch that at all in the show. And speaking of the Hulk, they kind of made a joke of the Hulk and saying all this stuff, about making her better and stuff, which you can argue because they do that stuff all the time. So it's not really anything new there, but like the biggest one that bothered me, which I know everyone's probably seen this clip.
So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
And then later on, it proceeds into a following episode to lose control in front of everybody.
Don't do it, Jen. Don't do it.
So yeah. The other big thing in this show being Daredevil, and that was like the draw. People were trying to come in, and they're like, oh, it makes sense because he's lawyer, she's a lawyer. So I don't have a problem with them including that. Like, as far as like the stuff I saw from Daredevil, I saw the clips and everything, and it's like, I think that's probably one of the least offensive things they did in the show. Obviously, they did the stupid like thing with Walk of Shame, where he's carrying his boots and wearing his suit, walking down the sidewalk. Like, that was really stupid. But like the rest of it, I didn't necessarily have a problem with the Daredevil stuff. Although they did give him the yellow suit for some reason, which I have no idea why that they would do that. Because I think that if we look at this suit, that Marvel changed that pretty quick. He had it for like 5 issues, and then he went to the iconic red suit. So I don't think this was like particularly fan favorite suit. So I don't know why that they brought him that suit. And I thought maybe they were doing it because he was like new, like so they were going to introduce a brand new Daredevil. But it seems to be that he's already established, and we've already seen him in No Way Home and stuff. So I assume he's established in this universe, because I'm guessing it's not the Netflix one. I don't know if they said for sure. So they really, I don't know. It doesn't give me a lot of hope for the Daredevil. I have no idea what they're gonna do with Daredevil, but it won't be as good as the Netflix show probably. And I really would have liked to have seen is like they taken this Kingpin. It would have been really cool if they put him in Spider-Man movie. It's kind of an aside tangent, but I thought that this Kingpin going against Spider-Man and putting forces against him would have been an interesting story. And you could have thrown in Daredevil, and that would have been a cool Spider-Man movie. I thought having him battle Spider-Man and being kind of a different dynamic, than fighting the street level. Spider-Man street level, but like Daredevil's like no powers and stuff. It'd been a little bit different. Him going against Spider-Man and a more powerful hero, and maybe having to enlist help. I thought this would be interesting. It's kind of an aside. But I don't think we're going to ever get anything cool like that in the MCU. I've not really been watched anything since Moon Knight. I think was the last series I watched, or Doctor Strange was the last movie. I don't remember which came out last. It's all blurred to me, but I didn't watch Thor, I didn't watch Miss Marvel, I didn't watch She-Hulk, but I felt like I watched She-Hulk because I saw so much stuff from it. But this was just pretty sad, and this is the decaying MCU is just crumbled to dust. We're coming up to Wakanda Forever that has no Black Panther and a fake Namor. So, that's their last movie of this phase, and then that was like, really? So, like, I haven't completely, like, I think I'll watch, like, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 to finish that off. Probably watch Ant-Man to finish that off, the trilogies. But other than that, I don't really see too much that I'm super into. Secret Invasion honestly didn't look too bad. If I, in a vacuum, not considering anything else that's going on, I would say Secret Invasion kind of looks interesting. But I also, at the same time, Secret Invasion should have been a huge grand scale movie thing instead of this TV show. But like I said, in a vacuum, the trailer and everything, it looked interesting. So maybe, but I have no hopes. So it would definitely have to prove me wrong, And obviously, if it did, that'd be great. But they're not giving me much reason to be positive in that area. So it's really just kind of sad to see the state of what they did to She-Hulk. So if you read the She-Hulk of the 90s, which is the John Byrne run, which is the one you usually hear associated with She-Hulk, it was a good run. And, I have the omnibus, so I've read it, I enjoyed it. And I've heard also that the Dan Slott run in the like mid 2000s was pretty good, but I cannot confirm that. I haven't read it. But definitely there is precedence for good She-Hulk, and they have the material. Like, I never got that about comic book movies. They have the material there. They don't honestly have to do hardly anything as far as creating the bulk of the story. I mean, obviously, there's, making things into a movie is different than in the comic book, but for the most part, the entire stories are there, and you can maybe tweak some things here and there as needed, but they're already written for you. You don't have to do anything. Like, I mean, they're already there. There's such a wealth, a gold mine of comic book stories in Marvel and DC and everywhere else that you could pull from, and yet they do stuff like this, and they waste an entire project complaining about the fans that made them successful in the first place. So, did She-Hulk kill the MCU? Time will tell, but it definitely looks like that might be the case. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you thought about this in the comments, and are you done with the MCU? Well, we'll talk to you next time.
At controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day, because if I don't, I will get called emotional or difficult, or might just literally get murdered. So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.